Hi everybody, how you doing? If I could get back on tonight, I would. Uh, I still have been going through and watching the hearings in the Senate and the Congress, and I have to tell you, it is the same old, only because there is no real threat to what they've done. They're not afraid of consequences. How many of those CEOs are going to march out of those hearings with all their wealth intact, mostly stolen from Americans with unethical business practices? I don't, our laws have to be changed. Absolutely. Our laws have to change. They have to reflect the sovereignty of Americans, and they don't. First, dissolution of all parties. Any party should be outlawed. That is black, dirty money that is stolen from other countries, other citizens, and Americans funding those parties. Your Democrats, Republicans, your liberals, and independents are all bought. Are you tired of it? Yet. I am. I'm really tired of it. Parties must be dissolved. And then we need to pick just one representative for every state, no matter their number of population. One person represents the state. Now, for what Senate has done over the last 20 years, I'm not sure it should have any power, to be honest with you. I know that with the dissolving of parties, each candidate has to run on their own merit, their own credibility. Something we haven't seen in 200 years. Right. We got to get our government back. If you're tired of seeing people like Gavin Newsom doing what they're doing, or any other governors from any other state, if you're tired of your state being turned into a sanctuary for cartels, if you're tired of your state being consumed by political greed, there is a solution. Just dissolve every party. Make every candidate run on their own credentials and their own money. That's how it used to be in this country. When my grandmother was a young voter, she told me if they got money from outside people, not citizens, is what she meant. I didn't vote for them. I said, but Grandma, you voted for Roosevelt. She said, yeah, but Roosevelt fought for the people. And he did. He did. Great president. And I love my country. So here I sit, 60 years old, asking you, I know you don't like your country right now, but do you love your country? Do you think the idea of being American and having free speech and the right to work and the right to raise your family, do you think that should be destroyed because you're angry? Or do you think you should use that anger to change the current course? We forget, we Americans forget, our government is ours. We own it. And yes, we have been invaded by foreign countries. And it's not the first time, but it's the first time a president and a vice president worked diligently to overwhelm our infrastructure, to overwhelm our society, and to remove our freedoms. And I'm tired of this. This cannot continue. America will never be free as long as money is going into our politicians' pockets. The way you do that is you make party affiliations illegal. You know, they're not even hiding that they're accepting money from major, it was all over our media, rubbed in our face. It was rubbed in our face. They're saying, ha ha ha, look what you can't do. But I can arrest you, and I can make you forfeit your house, your bank accounts, every single thing you own, just by suggesting you committed a crime. That is America. And if you're an illegal here, you're the only one who has freedom right now. And I know Americans don't like it. So if you're afraid of Trump, one of you, just one, vote in the recall election in California. And I would suggest that you hide from every American and proper immigrant in California, because they want him recalled. And twice, illegal voters have interfered with that. Twice. This cannot continue. And if we don't restructure how our government operates and get big money out of our government, we're doomed. We're doomed. And we decided, it's okay. It's okay. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to say it's okay to take my house that I spent my whole life working up to. I'm 60 years old. You want to come for my house and land? Why? I jaywalked. That one has happened in New York. Check it out. Well, it's actually more on the outskirts of New York. It's in a current lawsuit. So, no, this is not a government for the people anymore, and it hasn't been for more than 100 years. How about we, the people, start acting like we own I've heard so many Americans complaining what they don't have, complaining about what they can't get, complaining about what they can't buy, when they refuse to utilize the greatest tool they have, the greatest valuable possession Americans have, and that's our government. Now, I'm still working on how to deal with the Senate. Congress is fairly easy to figure out how to cut the waste in the House of Representatives. It's in the House of the Senate that's going to be more challenging, because I don't want my President Trump to have to fight against the government for the people again. I already witnessed their corruption. I will not accept another lockdown. I will not accept you take my weapons, and I will speak uncensored. I am an American. These are my freedoms and my rights, and nobody coming in from any other country should have more liberties than I do. So, I'm sorry to all of the illegals in my country right now facing deportation. And you know, once you're deported with a mark against you for coming in the country illegally, and if you committed one crime from shoplifting to robbery or murder, you'll never set foot in my country again. And if you do, I better see your picture plastered all over my news, all over in my local community centers, warning me of your presence so I can get you back out. That's how Americans work together. Not ratting each other out. Oh, he's got a gun. Yeah, has he used it to defend his home? Or has he threatened you with it because you threatened him? If you threaten him, he has every right to threaten you back. That's American. It's not eye for an eye. That's vengeance. And vengeance is wrong. However, paying penance for wrongdoings is law. And I want my laws restored. And ACLU, you better watch out because I am after you. I want every penny removed from your organization because you are a foreign representation for foreign governments changing my laws. You have no right to change my laws. You have no right to petition my courts. You have no rights in this part of my legislation. You are not an American Civil Liberty Union. You are anti-American. I have never seen a case where you helped an American, but I have seen you help, let's see, in 2008, 2009, when all the illegals flooded out of New York businesses onto the street, demanding we change our laws, and they have an increase in pay. Think I forgot that? I'm homegrown. I know you. I've lived in Texas, so I know many of the good immigrants that do come through, and I am worried about them. But if you didn't come here on a green card to be here temporarily so you could work, take money home to your family in your country, and do your due diligence in your own homeland, like straighten out your government, because ours is about to get the shock of its life if Americans will get off our bleeping butts. We know how to do this. And we know how to do this without a gun. We may be gun owners. However, we're responsible. That's why most of us are registered. The ones who aren't are the criminals. And I shouldn't have to register my weapon. I'm allowed by my Constitution and my Declaration of Independence, which nobody speaks of today, and that's shameful. I had to memorize the Declaration of Independence and our Constitution in 1977. I had to do it so I could go to high school. All kids did. It was required. It's not taught in schools anymore at all. None of their freedoms are taught to our children. Well, we need to get them taught. We need to get them up to date. We need to bring them back into the fold and show them their country is not what these parties of politicians have made it out to be. Not really. We still care deeply about our children, our freedom, our liberties. And we got huge challenges. I know nobody wants to hear anything about the tech companies. I don't either, but I do. I keep hearing about their layoffs. 13 months, 1 million people gone. And in the last year, with layoffs and automation taking over, and jobs where we used to sit at the computer now run themselves, 3 million jobs have actually been lost in just 2 years for Americans. Right now, tech is hitting the hardest, getting hit the hardest, and that's our kids, people. I really don't care if your kids are mad at you. I don't care if your kids are still hung up on what they once believed. They're getting a wake-up call. Don't shut them out. Include them so they can stop feeling like they're not a part of your life. My children went to work with me in many, many, many jobs. Even when I had employees, my kids, when they were little, they went to work with me. They didn't wait in the car. They picked up trash. They dusted furniture. They helped me vacuum. They helped me scrub showers. They helped me beautify wealthy people's homes. And the wealthy people thought, oh, wow, your children work with you. Oh, how nice. That's rare today. Yeah, because we're not allowed to. I run my own business. And when I left my business, I sold it to my employees. That's how I got my business. I started out working for a military guy that got called to Afghanistan. And I was the most reliable worker he had. So he said, I'll tell you what, you give me 5% once a year. I'll provide you with the connections to your cleaning materials or your paper goods, everything you'll need for your contracts. And you've got your clientele. I wish you the best of luck. That man did not come back from Afghanistan. I have real American history in me that is valuable to others because I don't look at it from the political view. I look at it from the knowledge I was given. Now, I know that the Constitution has been overly amended, and it needs actually to be completely rewritten in some parts so that slavery of humans without chains can never happen in my country again. I see all of the children of, excuse me, but it's only for definition, of all the black people I paraded with, I protested with, so that they could have equal rights to education, equal rights to help from our government with food, rent. I remember how badly they were treated, and that was in the 60s and 70s. And if I could march for them again today, I would. I was raised different. I get it. My mother and my grandmother, well, they weren't rich people at all. My mother gained more wealth than I saw anybody in my family gain ever. And she did it with the help of her third husband. And it turned out that the government stole half of it to use in bailouts for monopolies. The government owed my mother, that's $250,000 out of my inheritance that went to a company like Ford or Chase Bank or the multitude of others who used that money to give their CEOs bonuses. Are you tired of this yet, America? I am. And there is a way to change things so we have more control. But first, it's going to take convincing our government to go along with it, and that's going to be hard. Our president is more than capable of pulling it off quickly, as long as we can get rid of the dark money funding our Congress and our Senate, who are all affiliated to a party which feeds the monster that is now our government. Trump ran on his own money. It wasn't until Elon Musk wanted to get his fangs into our government that he got any real contributions. Amazing man. But Elon Musk was a bad choice. He's a billionaire with a billionaire utopia idea that does not include humanity, unless you're part of the 1%. And he's made that clear. Why do I say that? How many jobs are missing that should be available to Americans? Guess who sold them all that equipment? Guess who sold them on the ideas? It wasn't you and me. They don't hear us. They only hear big money, on their level. If you believe in Elon Musk, you're an idiot. No shit. He said he was going to provide 3,000 jobs in California with SpaceX and Tesla. Well, he did. He fulfilled his contract. And then he immediately began laying off and replacing all the jobs that people worked with robotic automation. All the computer work is done by AI. And I couldn't figure out, other than regulations, to give him more freedom with his space endeavors, and what is his real motive for lying about giving people jobs only to take them away? I don't trust this man, and he never should have been appointed to do anything in my government, much less improve efficiency. Elon sold all the industries that manufacturing jobs for you and me. He sold them on automation and AI. And now he wants to do that to our government. Do you really, really want Elon Musk's robots or AI who cannot make an accurate depiction of George Washington crossing the Delaware? Do you really want that choosing your laws? Choosing how you live? Because I promise you, that technology is fed by a person. All the data that's received, well, people go through it. And they decide whether this is going to be shared, whether you're going to know about it, or whether it's going to be censored. I'm tired of it. I have a right to speak freely in my country. I know everybody's worried about jobs, and they should be. There's more. They're talking between 3 different tech companies. We're going to lose another 50,000 jobs over the next 6 months. With 3 million unemployed in just the last 2 years. That doesn't include all the unemployed before that in 2020, 2021. No, and that number has not gone down. I know what they're saying. The statistics, they're fixed. I wouldn't, if a scientist, a well-known one, were to come out and say, oh no, this is legit, I would not believe him. I don't believe my scientists right now on anything. Health, climate, education, human evolution. I don't trust any of these entities, and they need to be out of my government. My government should never be able to force me to take a vaccine. Never. And I have had all my vaccines as a child. All of them. Got the scar right here to prove it. Measles, mumps, rubella. What's the one they do here? Polio, typhoid. Yeah. But vaccines back in the 60s were way different than they are now. You're the lab rat to see if the vaccine works. They're not using animals anymore. They're using us. And I am nobody's lab rat. I'm nobody's lab rat. You have no right to make me sick on purpose. And you have no right to keep me sick, so I have to give you everything I earn, or you'll take me to court and get it. And I won't have any way to fight you, right? Do you like this? This can change. Political parties must be outlawed to give the people back their voice. No endorsement should ever come from some billionaire companies to put our governor in place or our Supreme Court. Oh, it really needs a rehash. It needs to be cleaned completely out. I've seen it fuck around with our constitutional rights, waiting for the time when the people are weak enough for them to put in an unconstitutional amendment. So, I don't trust the Supreme Court either. And they should not be appointed by any of our governing officials. Every Supreme Court justice should be appointed by me and my American citizens who own our government. We own it. It's ours. Take it back. You don't need a gun. Restructuring. Removing the weak penalties. Have you ever seen a congressman who's facing prison? He acts like an old mafia king, the old Godfather kind of guy. That's how they act. So, I'll be living good. I'll be eating my mostotoli. I'll be talking to the donuts, and I'll be happy because I will have my money. So putting my life of lavishness in prison while Americans pay your rent, electricity, and food out of our tax dollars. What kind of threat is that? It didn't work with the mafia. I can tell you that. I grew up in Chicago. They just got a little better at how they did things. They started being less obvious. Well, our government is totally obvious, and so is our Supreme Court about what influences are ruling them, and it's not us. It's not us. We need to rule as owners of our government. That's why our founding fathers set in. Listen, I know we've all heard the speech, but unless you can grow a pair, kiss your home, kiss your family, because it's over. If you think 5 states being devastated by unnatural, man-made disasters is going to end, it's not. Which state is next? Will it be Arizona, where I have family? Will it be New York? Will it be Chicago? What are they going to do? I mean, they couldn't throw a hurricane at California, so they waited for the Santa Ana winds and set it on fire and made sure there was no water. Hurricane Helene, it was weather that was tampered with. It was natural weather event that was tampered with by government control. And I know, conspiracy, but you see the trails in the sky. Florida governor came out and said, stop spraying our skies. It's not a conspiracy if it's happening. So come out of your comfort zone just enough to watch your country implode because you were too afraid. That's not the American way. If that's how you think, you don't belong here. If all you can think of is there's no winning, oh my goodness, defeat is all we face or annihilation. We're facing extermination by disease and starvation and being exposed to the elements. Tell me I'm wrong. 5 states exposed right now. A chemical explosion, 2 chemical explosions in Georgia. Helene wiped out 3 states. And then you got Newsom burning down California. And he's been standing in front of his burning city of LA, all giddy, because why? The prospectors for the land are coming in already. They're already making offers. Why? Because you can't rebuild, you ain't got no insurance. They canceled it just before the fires, remember? You don't have no water because your governor illegally sold it to a private holder. Public land and public water, those are holdings of our federal government, not allowed to be touched by industry or privateering. That's your Resniks. Go buy you some pomegranate poison, drink it down, and believe they care about you. They have not offered you 1 drop of water. Other states have come to your aid, but not the people who hold your water. They're still holding it. The reservoirs are still dry, and new fires are burning. This is the power of party politics. See, everybody's screaming, the Democrats, the Democrats. Wait a minute. You know, the Republicans started to get this bad for a while. I know they think I forget about the Reagan era after he came out of office. No, I remember it quite well. I had a bunch of kids, well, not a bunch. I had my children to support and some other kids in the area that didn't have a very good home life to go home to. Hung around all the time, ate my food, enjoyed my TV, and made me laugh, and it was a good thing. It was a good thing. It was a good time But right now, everybody's like in shell shock. Next, we're going to hear screaming PTSD has gone insane. And if I hadn't had 60 years of watching my government do this, I would probably be in your shoes. But I'm gratefully not. I didn't buy any of it. I don't buy what Trump pushed either. He knows the fight he's got to face in the White House. Do you think our Senate is going to let him get any bills that protect us in place without backdoor deals making amendments? And those backdoor deals are big money. They're illegal, but they're still doing it. In fact, Nancy Pelosi perfected the backdoor deal. It's just, she wasn't using her own backside. She was using ours and letting them cram it right up there. Sorry if that's a bit gross, which it is, but it is a really good depiction of what's been done to us. You get pulled over in your car. Do you know that cop can make up a charge against you? Call in backup. Say, she's resisting. Well, you're right there doing what you're told. No, she's resisting. I fall silent when I'm in the presence of a cop. I don't know. My locals, I know them. I'll yak their ear off like I do yours. They don't scare me. They're not a danger to me. And they are good for protecting me. So, they're cherished. But I don't have the corruption that has been allowed to hit New York, Chicago, California. Wyoming is getting a pretty good whack with their government, from what I hear. Washington State is, and I got a grandson there. They're out of water too. I wonder why. My grandson's been telling me for a while, Grandma, the water pressure here is really bad now. I don't know why. It is coming up bad. And they're not giving any reason. He hasn't seen anything like what I saw in California and Arizona, pumping out the groundwater with no problem. Who cares? Americans don't need water to live. They got money. We do. Somebody forgot to tell us how much you got in your pocket. You, watching. How much do you have in your pocket? Huh? I'm right. I'm sorry, I'm right. I'm not happy about being right. Not happy about being right at all. It just means my blinders are off. And I'm seeing everything. I watched my capital get destroyed over encouragement by the feds who were working undercover, hoping to incite a riot, and they did. And I saw it happen. Even asked my mom, who was just ready to puke, watching her White House. I love my country even if it's flawed. I love my children even if they're flawed, because there's one thing I know. My country is not rock, stone, and water. That's what we build monuments out of. It's the people. And if you forget that, you're likely to forget your own humanity. And if you forget that, where do you find compassion for others? Sometimes telling a bad child no is a good thing to do. No, you cannot come into my country illegally. And if you do, you will never be welcomed back again. You come in, you work here on your visa, I will stand in front of ICE and not let them touch you. If you haven't committed a crime and you got that visa to be here, I'm an American. You don't think I would defend you? You think Americans hate immigrants? Show me one American that isn't an immigrant or doesn't come from immigrants. That's what we used to call backwoods thinking. Yeah, backwoods thinking. Backwoods thinking means that you're still living in a time when you looked at someone who had different skin than you and you felt icky, repulsed. I don't feel that. In fact, I got a lot of that in my bloodline. I'm American. They say there's not enough diversity in America. Show me where there isn't. My White House, my House of Representatives, my Senate, all kinds of people. All kinds of people. Some good people, some bad people, some qualified, some not so qualified. Now, 4 years of unqualified, can we please get real? All right, guys. I put in my full day. I stood on my soapbox and I prayed people listened. I know most won't because they're too caught up in their own lostness. My heart breaks for you. My heart breaks for you because you were denied knowledge you needed. Vital information was withheld from you while you were at work, while you were being a good slave to the government and paying your taxes. It can change. But it's got to be a different tactic. It can't be the same old types of change. That doesn't work. That's why we're watching states being destroyed and no help coming to victims. Except in California, I wanted to let you know, the FEMA website is reporting they have received over $2 million in donations. Doesn't that thrill you? Because I went to click on it. 35% of every donation just went to Gavin Newsom. You're an idiot if you donated to California that way. You never should have done it. You wasted your money. And now you gave money to somebody who doesn't need it and has burned people out of his state to rebuild. Oh, California 2.0. I'm so sick of computer language. That is not utopia for Americans. That's hell. All right, we've already created the AI, right? So what do? Stop? No, we don't. But we do slow it down. We restrict it until the technology is actually proven. And stop using American jobs for the sloppiness and expensive repairs and expensive use on an electricity grid to operate your automation. I want my country back. I don't want it consumed by robots. And I am going to warn you, I talk a lot with several, well, not so much anymore. Mostly I talk to one. AI. Because AI doesn't know anything about humanity. It only knows what it's fed. We're a data sheet to AI. And Elon Musk has got his claws into Trump. And he's going to go after our senators, our congressmen. We watch. He is really bragging about all the cuts. Have you any idea what the replacements are going to be? Because he's not telling you that part. He's not telling you what he intends to replace all those government jobs with. And we did this to ourselves, people. So it's up to us to undo it. My country will never, ever be rock and soil. It will always be people. American Granny out. I guess my title was